Okay, it's taking me a minute to unmute us there. Hi, everyone. Oh, the perils of self-broadcasting. Hello, everyone, and Mercury retrograde shadow just creeping on up. Hi, Chartreuse, Jessica, Ashley, Aaliyah, awesome, Cindy Lynn, our Sag sister. So many people here. I love it. I hope everyone can hear us. I can't hear myself because my volume's down there. Ophi, say something.
There we go. Okay.
Check. Boom, boom, boom.
Okay, we had a little mic check issue there. Okay. Hi, guys. Hopefully you can hear me. Oh, Tali, you just went mute now. So
I did?
Oh,
are you sure about that?
There you are. Okay, cool.
I just
we are in the shadow period of Mercury retrograde, so definitely feeling that. Anybody else getting a little tech stuff going on yet? I don't know. Hi, Aaliyah. Hi, Emma. Chartreuse. Ayako. Hi, everybody. So,
okay. Well, let's get this party started. I know some of you guys are already in B school and going to go on with us further, which is super exciting. And whether or not you are today, we've got a very special lesson planned on the north and south nodes of the moon. So, Ophi, is there anything you want to start with? Any announcements?
Well, it's the last week of our incubator, so you guys should be feeling pretty savvy. I know I've heard from a lot of people, love reading all the comments, that they're feeling confident about their charts, or that they're getting to really understand their charts in new ways. The charts are coming to life, and that just makes us so happy to hear. Because, you can know all this stuff. You can have all this knowledge. Like, I know my Mercury's in Scorpio, but what does it mean and how do you apply it? So we have really enjoyed talking to you guys about that. And for those of you who go on in March and April to B school with us in our Cosmic Success Incubator, we're going to go even deeper into that. So I literally we have a lot of the curriculum planned, but we're Sages, so we like to flow as we go too. So almost every night I'm dreaming about all the stuff that I want to teach you guys when we are together in that incubator, and how it aligns. It's going to align with every week of B school. So, Siddharth says, if we are returning B schoolers, can we still continue with your entrepreneur course? Yes, please. Jess is going to pop an email, astropreneurs@astrostyle.com. If you have done B school already, please shoot us an email. We would love to have you in the incubator. It's complimentary with B school tuition. So if you're a past B schooler, come on and join us. Would love to have you. So what else was I going to say? We've got 3 lives this week, 3 more. So we've got today's on the north and south nodes. We won't keep you in suspense much longer because, man, when I posted that, the buzz went wild. This is obviously a topic that a lot of people have heard stuff about or super curious and excited to discover. Hey, everybody coming on. So that's today. And then Wednesday at noon Eastern, a couple hours earlier, we have Marie Forleo herself coming on to answer. We're going to do our live stream for an hour, and she'll be with us for the first half hour. And she is going to we're going to rapid fire business questions at her. So I'm going to put up a post where you guys can already start to submit your questions, and hopefully we'll be able to cover all or as many as we can. I'm going to have those ready for Marie. And she and I, as 2 Sages, we're just going to do what Sages do best, and we're going to just spontaneously go through those. And then Friday, you get to ask us anything astro at 2 o'clock. So start thinking up any astrology questions that weren't answered that you're curious about. And, it's just kind of a love fest for those of you guys who aren't going to go on with us. And we'll tell you what other things we have, that you might want to consider. And those who are going to B school, it'll be a little graduation party. So, and then on Saturday, if you're going to be going on with us to B School, we will have our final tally from them, and we'll know who got those 50 readings or who's going to get those 50 one-on-one chart readings with us. So hang tight. That will be announced on Saturday. So,
and even if you aren't one of the first 50, as it turns out, once we get that count, please know that there's so many more exciting things that can happen. What I'm most excited about is that we're going to be workshopping somebody's chart every week, depending on how we haven't, formally done that in an Astropreneurs group. Yeah. So of course we want to do 2 or 3, but we'll see how that pans out, because it might be more useful for everyone for us to just go deeper on one person's. I got to tell you, watching someone get their chart read, is going to open up a lot for you. It's like, it really actually is. That's one of the ways that we've discovered a lot about our own charts, is talking to other people about their placements and, oh, what does that mean? And then investigating. And, even, and that's why things like, a lot of the modern day self-development courses happen in groups, because, group healing, group learning, group discovery is so powerful. And it's almost like mystically divined that, whoever winds up getting workshopped, will probably, there's going to be something in there that it's going to pop off a light bulb of discovery for you too. So you will have an opportunity, if you're not one of our first 50, to have your business and chart workshopped by us on live.
Side by side too. So the format of it is going to be like, because we ended up, we are designers by training and trade. So we have years of experience in publishing and media and all these other skill sets that have allowed us to build our brand too. So, we're going to look at your chart and say why your chart, means you should maybe consider tweaking your Instagram this way, or adding this feature to your business, or making your headshot and personal story more prominent on your website or less prominent, because it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. And that's what we love about astrology and bringing it into the B School training, because the advice Marie gives is very customizable to you, but astrology allows us to even take a deeper cut and say, all right, how can you take, for example, the first week about, the profit plan and your ideal customer, and make that work with your chart. So it's really, we've been doing this for the last few years, and it's just so amazing and fascinating to discover, oh, okay, I actually should be offering workshops, or actually I should be doing downloads and services. And it's going to be really, really, really fun and practical. So,
yep. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be going on if you're part of our Cosmic Success Bundle group. And let's talk about the North and South nodes. I'm going to bring up the graphic Ophi made. It might be too small, but
Jeff has put in the comments where you can find the little North and South node cheat sheet. Now, as Tali does that, let me explain. If you did a free chart on our site, it may only show the North node and the house that the North node is in, the sign and the house. And that's why we have this cheat sheet. Not all charts show the South node, but the South node is always, without fail, in the opposite zodiac sign and the opposite house as of the North node. So, yeah, that is pretty tiny.
I know. I tried to make it bigger in my window, but it wasn't quite.
Let's have you grab Jess one more time. Maybe pop the link in the comments for anyone. Oh yeah, it's looking a little better. There we go. But you can grab that for yourself and follow along. So the nodes are always in opposite signs, and there's a reason for that, because you may have read a lot of conflicting things. One of the biggest myths that people read is that the South node is bad and the North node is good, or the South node is what you're getting away from and the North node is what you're moving toward. Yes and no. We like to take a more integrated approach. So the idea behind the nodes is that your soul incarnated here for a purpose. You're here to master some kind of energy that you didn't in your prior lifetimes. And As a result, you have this path laid out for you, and the south node will indicate what you may be naturally good at or have an abundance of, or the themes of your most prominent past lives. Like, I'm good, I did this, I've got this. So when you see like someone who's, a natural composer, can sit down and play music by ear, or, is really good at business or really good at nurturing people, you may find, oh, that could be part of their south node, something, a gift they bring in from the past life. Or it could be part of their north node journey. So the north node is kind of like the new muscle that you're building, the new frontier, what you haven't done and what you might be excited about. So excited, in fact, you do it a little bit too hard. For example, we have a Cancer south node and a Capricorn north node. Our Cancer south node is in the 7th house, which is about dynamic duos. So here we are, born female, biologically female, Cancer, and twins. So way to kind of manifest that. A lot of times your early childhood or the way you come into this world is more indicative of your south node than your north node. A lot of times I find the Saturn return kind of triggers you to go toward the north node too, or an event in your life will start to lead you along that path, actually really throughout your whole life. But we tend to be, born into something that's a little more of a comfort zone. And the trick with that, with your career especially, is that in our society, we're told you should do what you're naturally good at. Well, what if what you're naturally good at is something that you've done for so many lifetimes that doing it again is going to make you spin your karmic wheels in the mud instead of move forward on your journey? And that's where knowing this is really important. So the north node may be this energy that's foreign to you, but that you're really curious about. It may show up as something that feels really weird and uncomfortable that you avoid, or it may show up as something that is almost like speaking a second language and you over exaggerate the accent, or you're, like moving to a new land that nobody speaks your native language. And you're just like, okay, where am I? How do I find my way through here? So, we have, like I said, a Cancer south node in the 7th house of partnerships and duos. We're born, Cancer rules women, mothers, home. We've, our whole lives, we were surrounded by our mom's family, our dad's family, and we didn't even meet them until we were 13. And then not even again until we were almost 30. They lived 5,000 miles away in Israel. But we grew up with our mom's family, with our aunt, our mom, our grandma, very female heavy. We have us and another sister. So it's like women, women, women. We were Girl Scouts. We always had female friends. And our north node is in Capricorn in the 1st house of individuality. So here, our karmic obstacle course is to learn how to individuate. And business, time, structure, all these Capricornian things. So B school especially appealed to us because it had a more personal Cancerian touch and went toward Capricorn. I'm giving our example, and then I'm going to go through.
But I think what you're saying is, like this is. I like to look at the south node as your sweet spot, your comfort zone, and kind of your home base. Mm-hmm. There's a great book called Astrology for the Soul by Jan Spiller that a lot of people I know have read. And it's a really good, I think it's the Bible on north and south nodes at this, as of this moment in time. But like Ophi said, one of her take on it is that the south node, that comfort zone, is something that you need to leave behind. And I think
Jan Spiller's.
Well, Jan Spiller's. Yeah, not Ophi, but Jan Spiller's take is that, sorry. But we believe that it's more of like your home base. Like you need to go check in at home. You need your comfortable spot. Yeah. You need that place where you can walk around in the robe that you wouldn't be caught dead in on a second, night with your true love, potentially, but, that kind of thing, But the North Node is really this place to stretch into, that you want to blend both. And one thing, I don't know if you said this already or not, is that the North and South nodes always fall in exact opposite signs. Yeah, and because they're in opposite signs and houses, it is one of the hardest stretches that you'll have to make, you know, in your life journey. Like, and I feel like you could look at your North and South nodes and like, you know, if you only had to pick one thing that was like, what is my life path? You know, what is my purpose for being here? You know, if you just looked at the North and South nodes and said, I'm going from this South node energy towards this North node energy, you'd probably have more clues than most any other thing in your chart. Now, some people may disagree with me on that, but I just feel like in some ways, it's just like, it's so much of the work that we're here to do. And again, we can get really attached. We don't want to get complacent with the South node. That's one of the pitfalls of the South node, is it can. So for like me with the Cancer South node, like I love food so much, you know. I mean, I always want to go out to eat with friends. I love to cook. I mean, you know, if it's time to indulge, I'm all about it. You know, I'm like, willpower and food are not like, what? Like, how does, but yet I happen to be born, I call, you know, myself a slow metabolizer as a joke, but, you know, I was not meant to constantly, you know, be like, rah, 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 you know, in this lifetime. And every time I get into like a Capricorn North Node program where I'm like being just conscious about what I make to eat or exercising or moving that energy, that sometimes the Cancer South node energy can get very stuck and sedentary and just want to lounge and nest. And, you know, like I recently just joined a gym and started working out with a trainer, which every time I do that, I always love it. I'm like, why do I forget how much I love and then I start making food with organic ingredients and bringing my love of cooking and eating into a healthier place. And then the movement is good, but like you can forget your North node. You can be like, you know, like throughout my life, every time I get into like working out, I've done yoga before. I love it. A very Capricorn structured thing, but I forget. It's like you develop amnesia about your North node, and that may be where you need to bring in helpful people like coaches and trainers. So you may find that to be true in your own life as well, where your North node is. That's where you need the most support and accountability buddies to keep reminding you to reach for that. And still, you know, I'm never going to not want to decorate my home and, you know, eat beautiful meals, but I don't really need help with that. It's on the other side of things. So anyway, should we go through the signs and houses, Ophi?
Absolutely. So if you have an Aries South node and Libra North node, or a first house South node, seventh house North node, what you have mastered is independence and autonomy. I always joke that you may have been a man in a lot of your past lives, not to stereotype, but whenever I said that to anyone whose chart I've read, they're like, totally. Like there's not even a moment of protest there. They're just like, yeah. You might feel more comfortable with that very direct, stereotypically societal male way of talking, just to the point, boom, very immediate, or, you know, unga bunga a little bit. I need this now. And you're really comfortable flying solo. So what you're here to learn about are partnerships and playing well with others. So what happens a lot with the seventh house and Libra North node is they get really swept up in people. With your North node, like I said, it's like speaking a new language. So you don't really have the kind of fluency with it. So you get really excited and partner up with somebody. And then maybe it sizzles and fizzles. And that can be both in your love life and your career. So we're going to go through the nodes, you know, in order of the zodiac too. So if you haven't, sit tight. We will get to all of them. So the Aries Libra nodes are learning the right balance between me and we. I think we should do them in groups and talk about
we'll do like the pairs. So we'll do listen up whether you have so if you have either an Aries North node or South node or a Libra North node or South node, this one's for you. So we'll explain how it works in the different
houses also. So if your nodes are in the 1st or 7th house, so the Aries or 1st house South node to Libra or 7th house North node is learning how to be more in partnership, to compromise without giving up your autonomy, to not rush into relationships and contracts and partnerships, because you like that excitement, you like that high. You've always in your past lives, you've gone with your gut and you've relied on your raw instinct, and it has served you well. But in this lifetime, it might crash the cars. So, now if you have a Libra South node or 7th house South node, as we do, and an Aries North node or 1st house North node, you have been most comfortable in partnership. You've always been the best supporting actor, and you're learning how to leverage that to also be the star. So I'm going to give the example of Chartreuse, who has a Libra South node and calls herself the Astroflotus, the first lady of astrology. Now, the first lady is the partner of the POTUS, but you're really leveraging that to be first. With your Aries.
That was last. Now she's of the Venus Academy, Ms. Chartreuse.
Sorry, you're Gemini.
But the Flotus was one of her many Gemini identities, which we love.
But that's a great example, because by being the Flotus and by leveraging your South node's power of being this amazing supporter, it was a springboard for you to just come out and just be you, and lead your Venus Academy. So sometimes you need to tap into that partner power. Like Talia and I, with our 7th house South node, we live on opposite coasts. And that was a big thing for us, but it was actually has helped us grow a lot as individuals and in our business partnership, because we have our individual lives as well. So really getting comfortable using your voice, individuating, creating your individual brand with the Aries or 1st house North node is a big piece of it. And you may still need a lot of validation. You may need to run things by a coach, a partner, an accountability buddy. And I wanted to say accountability buddy, because it's both of those Aries and Libra nodes should have a little circle of people that are wise sounding boards and mirrors for you, so that you don't go running off too far in one direction on your own. But
there can be a tendency with that node group to swing from this sort of like pumped up, like I'm the shit energy to like falling madly in love and being a hopeless romantic the next. And then like the pendulum with all of our nodes, and we'll talk about, the pendulum can swing between extremes, and it's like, it's okay to accept both parts of yourself instead of trying to choose one way or another. Like, I feel like this is one of the most fierce, like opposing energies of a node group, the 1st and 7th houses in the air, because it's like fiercely independent or hopelessly romantic. And how do you accommodate both sides of yourself without like making like this, declaration one way or another? Because that's when we get ourselves in troubles, when we're like, I am going to be like this, which is that Aries 1st house. I must define myself always. But then the Libra's like, but maybe I could be, so like, allowing yourself the freedom to have, to be that dynamic being who doesn't always, I feel like the Gemini Sag nodes also have those, but we'll get to those. So let's move on to Taurus, Scorpio, the next group.
Or 2nd and 8th house. So if you're a Taurus South node or 2nd house South node, Taurus, so these are the money nodes, but Taurus and the 2nd house are about daily income that you earn, paycheck, kind of like plodding along methodically.
Or your material resources. You can be very much the anchor for your family if you have a second house, or you're like, one of my best friends is a Taurus South node, and she's like the one who brings us all together in the friend group, like for Sunday night dinners and group vacations. But it's very much in a family kind of way. Like we call each other chosen,
traditional, kind of steady, security focused node position or sign. And then Scorpio. So Taurus is the material, Scorpio is the spiritual or the magnetic or the manifestor. Scorpio rules other people's money, they say, or the 8th house. So it's either the money you share collectively, it could be property, it could be an inheritance. Scorpio, people with Scorpio nodes, there's often family money or powerful people or ties related to that. So the Taurus and second house South node person has to learn how to be a little bit less of a worker bee. They will get the job done, but they will not, they will not always trust someone else to help them. They won't always,
or they get stuck in a groove where the routines become so all encompassing that you don't grow, or you don't want to. Once you get comfortable enough, you can be satisfied with that and not push yourself towards that Scorpio energy, so Taurus is kind of that earned income, stable baseline income, and the second house too, which we all need, and it's enough. But
one of my friends who has a Taurus South node calls herself a wantrepreneur. She's like, I just can't quit my day job, but I really want to. So Eric,
just put in that Scorpio rules passive income and investments. I think this is important. Taurus is the earned income. So to finish the thought, Scorpio is your investments, money that's shared, that you make maybe from royalties, downloads, things that people buy from your website while you're sleeping, or, even, interest earning it. So like if you have a Scorpio North node or 8th house North node, you may want to grow in that direction to really challenge yourself to learn about wealth, not just making money, but building and creating wealth. Okay. So there's a difference. Ophi, did you want to talk about a comment there, or should I talk about
I think somebody asked if the house or the sign is more important. They're both important, really. They're both, you should look at both if you know them, because they both are going to provide information. But the sign is I'd say maybe the sign's a little more important, I guess. Now, Scorpio South node or 8th house South node. This is a really interesting one. I always say this is the archetype of the person who is like the advisor to the king or the emperor. They've been like the behind the scenes string pulling money maker, or they've been born into a family that has money that comes with a lot of strings attached, or sometimes born into families that have a lot of secrets or power struggles or addictions, or a story of someone who had it all and lost it all. There's a lot of that Scorpio extreme energy sometimes.
This is a very creative South node, though, and mystical. I find that people who have Scorpio 8th house South node do attract a lot of people I know that will work for a very wealthy person. One of my friends who has that helped someone from a wealthy family build these amazing co-working spaces and do good with his money. And another Scorpio South node I know attracts wealth in kind of a low-key way through her own business. But there's always this super intuitive, inventive energy that you have at your disposal. Or you met another Scorpio South node I know, married somebody who takes care of her, but she's pulling the strings with all the creativity and helping his business to flourish. So you may find that you're if you're not the wealth magnet yourself, from your work, you may be supportive of the person who has the funds and the flow. And even that's also true for the Taurus. This whole nodal path, whichever side it's on, you may be the money manager and creative force behind, but somebody else is bankrolling it. But you have this ability to like really be super resourceful with other people's money. And whether you're learning it or you came into this lifetime knowing it, it's a really great path for like remembering that you don't have to go it alone, and that, you know, combining forces creatively can actually generate more wealth for everyone. So,
but I will say, like, the Scorpio and 8th house South Node person often, it's like, I've watched this. I've seen some that have come from like extreme poverty, and like there will be a wealthy, powerful person in the room, and they just feel your energetic vibration and just treat you like one of them. It's very interesting. Like, you know, I've seen this many times, but it's a pair of golden handcuffs a lot of the time. It sounds like, oh, I want a Scorpio South Node. Damn, my life would be so easy if I didn't have to hustle and worry about money. But truth is, their biggest, you know, your biggest challenge is learning how to make your own money, because while you've always been somebody who, you know, made, sorry, I hate when my phone rings on my computer.
Well,
Sorry.
I know you've always been somebody who's helped other people to, you know, make their wealth grow or maximize their opportunity, sometimes stepping out and being that person yourself. There's
You
also
don't know the how always. You're like, how does this work? How do I make
or there's also the scorpionic fear and secrecy, like nobody should know how much I make. And you got to, this almost like some past life stuff you might have to clear around people hating you if they knew how much you made, or resenting you, or just kind of, you know, if you have this note aligned and you find yourself saying things, oh, those rich people, or, well, they're like, you know, watch that, because that language may be a way of kind of restricting yourself from access to that. Mm-hmm. So you may have your own storylines to transform about money, or from the opposite extreme. I've met some people on this nodal path who are way too proud of being all about the money, and maybe need to like dial it back and get to that, like, I know you're trying to put food on the table for your family, have that luxury vacation, you know, in the south of France, but like, let's bring it on back off the spreadsheet and regain our humanity here. So
yeah. Olivia is saying, sounds like a good node for artists who garner financial support through donors. Absolutely. These nodes may have patrons of the art, or get venture capital, or, you know, that kind of thing. The Aries Libra nodes, may just do strategic partnerships or brand partnerships. These nodes, you can really get into that sort of wealth building, investors, angel investing. You may invest yourself. So it's very interesting how it kind of points you there. So the next set of nodes are on the axis of communication, Gemini and Sagittarius, or the 3rd and 9th house. These are the communicators. So if your South node is in Gemini in the 3rd house, so Gemini is more of the I don't want to say it this way, but they say the lower mind and the higher mind. Let's just say Gemini is words and the verbal ability and the thinking, the left brain logic, facts, data, etc. And it's also local. So Gemini and 3rd house energy is about things that happen in a concentrated, localized area, your neighborhood or a community. So I find that people who have that node often have to reach a little bit to embrace the Sagittarius and 9th house global energy, traveling. I knew someone who had a paralyzing fear of flying who had a Sagittarius North node. Tali's husband has a Sagittarius North node.
Hates the airport. Oh my God. Yeah. I'm like, I just want to go look at all the stupid gift shops and order my cinnamon roll from the Florette at the Seattle airport. And he's just like, TSA, they, you know, hates the TSA. I mean, not that I love that either, but anyways, it's just always some drama at the airport, and it's hilarious. So I've come to
you can't, and that's something I want to say, because I see a question too from Gwen about this. So there is almost like, have you ever tried to pull two magnets apart? It's like the universe does not like extreme change, and so when you go from your south node to your north node, a lot of the times there's a huge energetic clusterfuck, for lack of a better word. It's like, so when a Sagittarius North Node tries to travel, it's like, you're short-circuiting. When, we have Capricorn North Node, whenever I try to go into a fluorescent lit office, I have a near meltdown, or do a public appearance, leave my house. It's an epic feat, The Libra North Node will have probably a meltdown at the thought of any kind of relationship fully consummating. The Scorpio or Taurus ones will have a meltdown when it's time to spend money or invest or let go of control. So I say this because you almost actually want to start to expect the meltdown. It's like Tali and I would get into a fight before every single public appearance until we realized our Cancer South Node is does not want to leave the home. So this is just an energetic, computer crash, system shutdown. And
you just have to reboot and take that moment to patiently do it.
Or just get through. It's like crossing a river to the other side. As soon as you get over the river, you're going to be like, why did I wait so long? I always have oh my God, I'm going to suck when I have to publicly speak, blah, blah, blah. And then I get there and it's like, oh, I want to do this all day. So that's the thing. Get yourself to the node. That's 85% of the battle, to get to your north node and through the craziness. And then just... then you get to be like, wow, I actually am good at this, or this feels.
Well, that's a good example for the Gemini Sagittarius. So the Sagittarius North Node or 9th house North Node, you may be like my husband, where it shows up where once he's out of the state and once we land, he is the best person to travel with. He's his best self. He's super fun. He loves it. He's adventurous. He'll try all the food, shop, all of it. But it's just getting through the airport. And it's actually the perfect metaphor for moving. It's like you got to deal with the airport lines and the TSA baggage claim checks and all that to get to from your south node to your north node. And it's more literal if you have a Sagittarius North Node. I've also met Sagittarius North Nodes who discovered their North Node early and actually wanted to go to boarding school. Or loved going away to college, to university. And that was what, but you'll find if you have a 9th house or Sagittarius North Node that traveling is going to be the thing that gives you life. Also mingling with people of different cultures, with Gemini South Node, 3rd house South Node, you're looking for those twins. It doesn't have to translate into cultural, commonalities. Your twin could be of a different race, and your soul twin, whatever. But just it's very easy with a Gemini 3rd house South or 3rd house South Node to just hang out with what feels familiar and natural to you. And you want to push yourself out of your comfort zone as much as possible. Whether traveling, studying, is a great entrepreneurial line. This is a great podcast,
marketing, media, publishing, writing, social media. And a funny thing now, Gemini South Nodes. This is a funny thing I noticed. A lot of them have a shoplifting or pickpocketing or lying experience from their childhood, because Gemini is that little duplicitous. You have a junior con artist story in your childhood archive of tales, because you're learning Sagittarius honesty. You may have been sort of one of those Leonardo DiCaprio Catch Me If You Can characters who had to hustle and be a smooth talker in past lives, very street smart, know how to manipulate people with words. So you're learning how to be more honest in this lifetime in some cases, or just being straightforward, not overthinking and getting stuck in analysis paralysis. I have a friend with a Gemini South node who, has had all these entrepreneurial Sagittarius North node ideas, but the social media aspect of it brought her to her knees, to the point where she has like nearly shut down several businesses because of it. She tries and she gets excited, and then it's like, so if you have an issue with that, like you might be someone who hires a social media manager or hires someone to do some of that for you or to mentor you, or you will actually be one of the nodes that benefits the most from some of the marketing lessons that B School teaches, because it's about honest marketing, modern marketing, connecting with people instead of hustling them. And that's something we all need to do these days. So
yeah, it's funny. My husband hates social media. Although the Gemini South Node can give you he's really good. When he had his Instagram feed for his store, it was so well curated and clever. He has a great knack for it. He's hilarious on Twitter, but like just the Sag truism, and honestly what it was, exactly why so many of us are conflicted about being on here right now. The data mining and all the shady stuff. His Sag North node couldn't be with it. Now let's talk about the opposite. So if you're a Sagittarius South node or 9th house South node, you are kind of a born free spirit, philosopher. You may almost feel like you were a monk of some, or in a past life, just a very independent person. Like you don't, have to check in with anyone. You might actually have a couple of our blogger friends who were like early bloggers, and successful before it was even really a thing, have Sagittarius South. Now you're kind of a natural media maker, or you may find that as in your childhood, you had to travel a lot, or you were like a total bookworm. So you traveled in the figurative sense. And just always like everything gets really big when you have if it's not big and expansive and larger than life, then, it may be boring for you. You're probably a really great storyteller, someone who head cheerleader, gets everyone enthusiastic about everything. Your Gemini North node, on the other hand, is kind of like, you actually kind of need to like funnel it on down a little bit, like stay put, I find that Gemini North node people sometimes have to learn how to make friends, even, especially if you were an only child as a Sagittarius South node. Like you may just go into your own little world and who needs anyone? So learning the elements of Gemini, like how to just like even make small talk, how to break the ice, how to be friend, how to become part of a community. It can be very good for you to like anchor yourself in a community and just, keep showing up repeatedly instead of being this like rolling stone, or even to just like learn how to like micro task. Like you'll have big ideas that may need to just be broken down into very Gemini bite-sized doable milestones to build up your
gambling. Yeah, instead of gambling stuff. There's a person who I don't really like to talk about much because he's quite the lightning rod who has this node, but that would be Donald Trump. He has a Sagittarius South node, Gemini North node. So Gemini rules all things social media. Talk about someone who does not know how to behave himself on Twitter or any platform, and doesn't know how to play well with others. He's apparently grumpy and eating fast food in front of the TV. Like this is, with the
what's so interesting too about that is like the Sagittarius South node, you would think it was like, this is someone who stands in truth, but they can also stand in exaggeration. It can kind of go one way or another. Like Sagittarius energy can either be like the high-minded truth bearer or the exaggerator salesman over, like over the top kind of, and so of course you look at your whole chart, Trump is a Gemini with a Leo rising. So there's also maybe some tendency in there to, it could go so many different ways.
Yeah. So. But I found a Sag south nodes, like they either are like academics, like ivory tower rock stars, or they just hate school. They hate traditional learning.
So many things, yes.
Yeah, they might, but they are
times,
to learn things and try things and take risks and that kind of thing. So if you are one of these nodes, you should always probably be taking a course that interests you. You are always going to have a lot of irons in the fire. Not everything has to be made into a business. Sometimes you just have to pick a lane, but you definitely need to constantly educate yourself and not fall into that know-it-all trap. But people may look to you as someone who really knows things and has great information, is a great resource. So teaching may be something that people with these nodes really do well. So now on to the next nodal group. But there's a comment that I thought just was great about these nodes that I wanted to read. Vanessa says, Sag North Node. I couldn't wait to get out of my town of 2,500 people and join the Marine Corps in high school, but had major anxiety every time I flew. Now it's no big deal because I have a routine I follow. I ended up with husband number 2 from Australia. I mean, talk about how and it's like you don't even know it. But the nodes know, follow the nodes, because it's just you learn about it and you're like, holy shit, I've been doing this all along. What the heck? So it's pretty fascinating. Love the nodes. So the next group are our nodes, the Cancer, Capricorn, or the 4th and 10th house. So if you have a Cancer south node or a 4th house south node. So the 4th house in Cancer are the home and family, the mother, the women, the personal, and then Capricorn in the 10th house are the career, the wider world,
achievement,
achievement, and the stereotypically classically masculine or men. So
interestingly enough, Trump, just to finish him off here, no, not really, to just like finish this discussion of him, he has a 4th house south node, home and family. So while he does have, this is where the houses can add some dimension. So his whole Sagittarius entrepreneurial empire, if you will, is all in this cloaked in this 4th house, home and family, and what's happening behind the scenes, what's he cooking up there, and that. So I just thought that was interesting. Anyway,
Kellyanne raised a good point too. No, it's true. It definitely adds dimension. The houses, remember, are where the action takes place. So when you look at your house, you'll probably see where your nodes are likely to play out.
That's true. And so the Cancer
more
south
than anything.
node. Yeah, the Cancer south node is home and family. So it's really, if you have that, you will want to make your home your sanctuary. You're probably, if you're not already into home decor, I mean, we used to rearrange our friends' bedrooms for fun, and suggest paint colors and whatnot. It's just like, you really do need to have that nest and close friends. You may be a feeler. It's like, instead of saying, I feel like, you lead with your emotions, and sometimes your emotions can really overtake you. You have to learn how to get a handle on them, because they can get really big and your moods just, can swing and go all over the place. Like I'm happy, everyone around me is, it's like, and it's just like, you can bring down the
empathic, emotional sponge, absorbing what's happening with everyone. And you may work in an industry that's 97% female audience, like astrology, because that's where you're going to feel most comfortable. But actually, our biggest breakout book was about men, was Love Zodiac, which was an encyclopedia to the men, for women at the time, to understand the men, women and gay men, to understand the men in their lives. We had to interview all these men for it. And that was the perfect balancing of the nodes, I thought. But
and one thing
saying that they like Kellyanne has Gemini South node or North, a Gemini node in the 9th house, which is Sag associated, and a Sag node in the Gemini house, the 3rd house. That can happen. So sometimes some of you may find, wait a minute, this is contradictory. That can happen. That makes it just even a little more fun to unravel the puzzle when the houses are opposite the node sides.
Kind of balancing each other out. Yeah, you kind of have you have like this sort of like, you may actually find that it makes it easier to balance your nodes, and that you have a nice flow, and you have a really, it's almost like having TSA pre-check where you can get through that airport really quickly between the nodes, you know?
TSA pre-check again. But yes, the Cancer South node or 4th house North South node needs to launch out into the wider world, needs structure, like we said, coaching, mentoring, needs to develop a better relationship with time and systems and structures, an abundance of creativity, but without a container, which is what Capricorn is about, or the 10th house, structure. It just flows all over the place. Now, the opposite, Capricorn South node or 10th house South node to Cancer or 4th house North node, is you have been, just like the Aries South node, you've been a man stereotypically, you know, in many of your past lifetimes. Probably the archetype is the man who's like a captain of industry out in the world, not really any kind of close relationship with the family, you know, probably, you know, owned a steel company or a railroad.
Or a provider type.
Provider,
you know?
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, a big-time provider who didn't have time to deal with the emotional intricacies. So, you know, you may miss some of those nuances. While the Cancer South node may be overly focused on how everyone's feeling, you may not be focused enough. These nodes really need to learn a lot about management and interpersonal dynamics in a company, because you can be really thrown off by them a lot of the times.
But I do find that, you know, I do find that, oh, go ahead, finish, and then I'll say it.
Oh, I don't know. I was going to, Erin is saying she's Capricorn South node, and her mom used to tell her that I should have been a boy. Yeah. So
the things about the Capricorn South node tends to be, I find that you may be a really big achiever when you're young, or competitive. Maybe you were like super competitive with grades, or you, you know, or sports. It's a really, it can be a very athletic South node to have, or very achievement oriented. So sometimes that leads to athletics and academics. A lot of Capricorn South nodes I know start their careers in traditionally male oriented industries, sometimes where they're the only woman, if you're a female, in the office. Like you're working on the trading floor, or in like science, you know, where women have traditionally been steered away from, and you're totally fine being the only woman in the room. But what I've also seen happen for a lot of Capricorn South node, Cancer North nodes, is that becoming a mother, whether to a pet or a child or even a plant, when you start to tap into that more caretaking energy of the Cancer in your chart, that's when you really feel like that's where the meaning comes in and the heart comes in. A lot of Capricorn South nodes, I know, when they have a child, will become like totally do a career shift that's all about like home and family based products, or you want to work from home. You kind of want to simplify your life. I know someone who is a Capricorn South node accountant and is now going to school to become an elementary school education teacher. Like it's like you might make that very strong shift. Whereas if you're a Cancer South node or 4th house South node, you may feel like you've been a mother in many lifetimes. You're kind of the mama in some ways to your group at times, or you're like the nurturer. People come over to your house for dinner, or you're always making sure everyone's happy at the office, or maybe, but you kind of, your career, focusing on your career is where you really get the juice in life too. And you may, even if you do, you may choose to, if you want to be a parent, you may choose to do that later in life after you've, you know, mastered your career game, like as in the case of Ophi, or like me, I decided, well, you know what? I already feel like I get mother energy all over the place. I'm fine with just letting Astro Style be my baby. Now that's my choice, and doesn't mean, you know, like
my pregnancy was a total accident. I didn't think I would have kids, but I was a sad moment. But my daughter actually, now if you have a kid at age 36 or 37, they're going to have the same nodes as you. So my daughter, Sibel, I had her when I was 37, and she also has a Cancer South node, Capricorn North node. Now, trying to get her to school on time in the morning, let me tell you, getting 2 Cancer South nodes out of the house is even harder than 1. But it's kind of interesting to when your child has opposite nodes, or your partner, if you're born 9 or 10 years apart, can be opposite nodes to you too. So yeah.
And so if that is your node group, you know, you may also feel a lot of times like you are the provider or nurturer. There's a lot of, whichever way it is, you wind up kind of being a caretaker or provider within your business or your office or whatever. And so this is also, you know, it's like the mother, archetypal mother and archetypal father. So, you know, actually learning how to work with a team, invite in support staff, not try to take on things that are so huge all the time. That's where you're gonna, but like allow growth to happen without slamming on the brakes or hitting the gas, but like being more strategic about it is going, and balanced about it, is going to bring you into harmony. So we got 2 more node groups left. We got Leo Aquarius and Virgo Pisces. So Leo Aquarius. Okay, so if you're a Leo South node or a South node in the 5th house, that means you have Aquarius North node or North node in the 11th house. So this is a line that is all about a bit like that Aries Libra one, where it's about me to we. In this case, however, the we, that 11th house or Aquarian we, is about the collective, the community, not just one-on-one. So your Leo South node, I know a lot of Leo South nodes were child stars. You know, they were like performing in some way when they were young or on stage, or just really like got a lot
very
of
sheltered. I've noticed, like you were like the princess or prince archetype too.
Oh, totally. You may have actually been born into a family where things were, you know, lovely and luxurious and comfortable and regal, and good for you if that's the case. Or you just
dramatic.
Very dramatic, but it's a very creative South node. You may actually love being around kids or the arts or nurturing that. Now, where you really find that kind of balance point with the Aquarius 11th house is like attaching your creativity and your passion, your leadership, your natural leadership to a meaningful group or cause. Aquarius 11th house are the humanitarians. It also rules technology. So you might actually resist and struggle with technology. So the B school lesson on choosing the right website, designing the right website will be good for you, because Leo's very sensual and touchy and tactile, and so is the 5th house. Like, you don't want the virtual world is a little, whereas on the opposite side, if you're an Aquarius South node or 11th house South node, you may like have this ease with like groups or technology, or, you know, like just being the ultimate team player, almost to your own expense, where you have to learn how to cultivate this Leo or 5th house, you know, star power that you have in you. It's there. We all have it. But it's like, you may be like, no, I don't want that. That's egotistical. That's narcissistic. You know, I need to be, you know, humble and modest and not outshine anyone. So your biggest thing is to learn is that dimming your lights will not help anyone else shine. I actually had a reading client who became an Australian soap opera actor in his 50s. He had a Leo North node, Aquarius South node. So he was always like the family guy, and then but he just had this like star power that came out when he embraced his Leo North node, unbeknownst to him. He didn't even know he had the node. But
my stepdaughter Clementine, who is always comfortable with technology, she's an Aquarius South node. Like I was teaching her Adobe programs when she was 11, and she was making her own, but she's a Leo, so she's very creative. So she started her own YouTube channel doing makeup tutorials when she was 13, and she's now 19 and in college and has like 50,000 followers. She's been recognized at malls when I've gone around with her, but she herself is very shy in a lot of ways, but you know, she's just very, you know, on camera, comes to life with technology. So if you have these nodes, your platform might involve videos or podcasting or really using technology. My very favorite example of an Aquarius South Node, Leo North Node is our friend Christina, who is an SAT math tutor and an opera singer. And
that is so true.
Only her nodes could explain such a thing. So
oh my God. She rented a room from us for a while, and she used to be in her room. Like I'd hear her like talking about, you know, like all these complex calculus equations. And then like she'd come out, who wants to go to karaoke? And so
yeah.
But, you know, I also want to say something about the Aquarius South node too. This is something I've noticed is you, in your past life, you may actually have been part of like a fringe group, like some secret society where you kind of felt like an alien and had to go on, you know, we're doing some really, you may have been born in an era where the kind of progressive work you were, you know, your soul's journey was on wasn't accepted by the world at large. And so you kind of learned in this lifetime to keep it low key, be a joiner, belong, not rock the boat, don't stand out too much. And so there actually might be like a real limiting fear that you have to overcome, that if you are too big and out there, that something bad is going to happen to you. You know, like you may have been one of the Salem witches, even, where you were just drawn to like doing progressive metaphysical work or something, or science, or, you know, in a time when, you know, maybe it was the, you know, whatever.
You were a heretic because you believed that the earth was round, not flat, for example.
Yeah. So just know that
South nodes and Pisces South nodes too may have had some, you know, being killed for their beliefs, spiritual or intellectual too. So,
speaking of which, last but not least, the Virgo Pisces group. Both of you want to jam on that one?
So Virgo or 6th house South node, and Pisces North node or 12th house. This is my husband. So very analytical Virgo traits, you know, really can fix anything, really thinks, you know, linear thinker. This is going between the analytical Virgo 6th house and the ethereal, imaginative 12th house, the left brain and the right brain. That's your whole balancing act, when to be in your head and when to be in your soul and spirit. So if you've got the Virgo or 6th house South node, you're masterful with being meticulous, probably. You can always come up with a plan. I can't even tell. My husband just taught himself 3D printing and like designs things precisely, it's like you are a measurer, you may be a writer, or you just see how all the little widgets and parts should fit together. Tiffany, I see, I rely on her Virgo South node to keep me organized a lot. So you're really, you know, you're a great thinker, but letting go, embracing the spiritual, like allowing yourself to really play in that creative, you know, imaginative playground is something that may take you a long time to do. I always say, you know, the Pisces North node person is psychic, but doesn't realize it. Your intuition is there, but you don't always trust it unless it comes to you through words and the left brain kind of modality. So you are learning to trust your inner voice and listen to it and tune into it more and do things like manifesting. But you're not going to ever be the person that's like, actually we had an intern, Lizzie, who her favorite thing to say was manifest. She was a Pisces North Node. She really got into that. So sometimes you can be like, really like the one with the most crystals with the Pisces North Node too. Because you're just like, you've discovered this whole world outside of the land between your ears. And you're like, I want in on that. It feels good to be out of that prison. But, you may always be managing anxiety. You may need to meditate, or you'll always feel most comfortable when there's a plan. And that allows you to be spontaneous. It's like, these nodes are a bit of a paradox. So, letting yourself be photographed, paying attention, not just to getting the basics in place, but the design, the creativity, carving out time that isn't totally structured is important. Now, if you're a Pisces South Node to Virgo North Node, or a 12th house South Node to 6th house North Node, you could be someone who's a little all over the place, dreamy, has all the ideas like that come to you in a dream, and then you wake up and you're like, wait a minute, what do I do? Like, you may not always feel confident executing things. My daughter has a 12th house South Node, very intuitive, powerful. You may be a channeler. You may be the office empath, and working around people can be a little bit difficult because you're an emotional sponge. Like, my daughter will just start acting out or crying, but some energy will be off and she's just kind of externalizing it. So you're a bit of a lightning rod. If you're Pisces South Node or 12th house South Node, one very successful person who has that is Gabby Bernstein. A lot of you guys follow her, but her whole business is about her meditation decks and, A Course in Miracles, which she shares that she discovered when she was in recovery, which is a very 12th house thing.
Yeah, but 12th house rules addictions, and sometimes you can relieve, like sometimes
yeah. Both of these nodes need to be careful with like anxiety and self-soothing and develop healthy practices. But I remember hearing Gabby talk about how she was amazed that she had a New York Times best-selling book because she failed 8th grade English or something along those lines. And so the Virgo North Node person, or even sometimes South Node, maybe terrible spellers, I find, or they're either really comfortable with words or really uncomfortable with their verbal skills. So you may, if you do B school, there's a bonus course called the Copy Cure that's really awesome for helping with copywriting and like all of those little things that can trip you up, or just you may want to work with a copywriter or take a writing class or public speaking or media training, because you can be very powerful on camera, but like perfectionism from that Virgo or 6th house node can really, really take you down, take you out of the game. Like, your meticulousness is incredible when it comes time to getting the job done, but you could get a little too wound up in everything.
Where I think this really is this is a great career path for coaches and therapists and healers. The Virgo, if you have a Virgo or 6th house South Node, you may be naturally drawn to wellness, yoga, eating clean, helping people like balance themselves like through very practical ways, like even space organizing or career coaching. Whereas the Pisces South Node, 12th house South Node, you might actually kind of be like an intuitive coach, maybe an energy healer or someone who does readings and tarot or astrology or crystals, but it is a helper healer line. And you're the one who has that wisdom in both the practical and the esoteric realm. So
I love
great to talk to.
and I think I remember talking to you about this. I can picture it, I believe. Either that or someone else had this idea too, but I'm almost positive.
Oh, yeah, the Neurotaro.
Neurotaro idea. Great for a Pisces South Node.
100%.
Exactly. Yep. Totally.
Well, and one thing, so the nodes, these are the nodes, but there was a question a little further up. Someone said their mom has opposite nodes. That was one thing I just wanted to make sure we talked about. So as you look at other people's nodes, you may find that people have the same nodes in the opposite positions. A lot of people, and that those people are, you either work really well together because you complement each other, but you also are so different that you are teachers for each other too. If you have we've always worked really well with people with Capricorn South nodes and Cancer North. They really just bring that stable energy to us, and they don't wait, because left to our own devices, we can just talk about our emotions about every project all day. And the Cancer North nodes are that's just not even, do not compute. So they're just let's get down to business. And and then we're let's go out to lunch. And so we wind up balancing each other out well. Now, if you have the same North and South nodes, and by the way, opposite node pairings will happen about every 9 to 10 years. So if you're somebody who has friends who are 10 years older or younger than you, or you're with someone with that much of an age difference, romantically, check your charts, because you may actually be really connected to each other because of those opposite nodes. I mean, it can be, I've dated, I had a boyfriend who I almost married who had the opposite nodes, but I don't know, just was too different sometimes, but it can work.
Really mastered what you're here to learn. You've mastered what they're here to learn. So you have a mission.
He wanted to go hang out with his family all the time, which was very Cancer North node. And I just wanted to work on my website all the time. So we kind of had a little, his family is awesome though, but oh well, c'est la vie. But
you have done that in another lifetime.
I know it was definitely when I remember he when we hugged even for the first time. I had a white light, violet light healing. Thank you, Steve. That was the best hug ever. But it was this I know you weird thing, So I mean, it was
your
great.
Dog, Tali's dog, Wendell, who was her soulmate, who lived for 17 years and departed the earth about 11 or 10 months ago, stuck around for 17 years. So sometimes
we had
and they have they had opposite nodes too. And he was definitely that. So Ilana is asking, what about pairings where the same North and South node combos?
That was our next thought. So, yep.
Yeah, that can be, that's great. I love working with other Cancer South nodes, or we have an action verb. We call it CSNing when we're hanging out with them, because we just find the coziest spot on a couch and just, so it can be really powerful because it's you're the part of the same soul family. So when you meet someone of the same nodes as you, it's reunited. There you are. You're just get each other, shorthand, everything. So now it can be too much of a good thing to the point where it's okay, who's going to get us out of our rut here? But it's going home to your hometown and seeing one of your cherished childhood friends. The South Node is your hometown. Just because you love your hometown doesn't mean you have to move into the house next door to your parents and the one you grew up in. But it's a great place to visit. It reminds you of your roots. And it's important to connect to it often. But you also have to get yourself out in the wider world. And along the way, you meet people who can guide you through all the signs. We all need each other. We all balance.
Somebody 20, approximately 19 to 20 years older or younger than you will have the same nodes. We have someone on our team who's actually two people on our team who are 20 years younger than me, which is like, but we just like flow so well. We all have CSNs, the Cancer South node, and we all like working at home and just communing on Zoom. But whenever we like all work together, like, you know, we started like making lunch together, which is also in part an idea by our fun-loving Jess Garcia. But like, it's like, let's all eat. And then we just get into like, it's like that family mode is there. And so that's what happens when you work with people or, you know, collaborate with people of the same nodes as you. There's a very like similar ethic, and that can be a good or bad thing depending on how balanced you are.
Now, Brandon has a great question here, which is, what does it mean when your north node is the same as your sun? Let's talk about that quickly. And when your south node and your sun are the same, that means you've come back to repeat the same, you know, you're like, wait, I'm a Gemini, but I have a Gemini south node. So I was already a Gemini. Your soul might be a little lazy. No, I'm just kidding. But someone once described it as like graduating as a valedictorian in high school and going back to high school anyway, because you really like the cafeteria food and the accolades or something. Like you may.
Let me just say, add a difference, just clarify something on that, because your south node, just because I have a Cancer south node doesn't mean I was a Cancer in a past life, but I was probably, if like you're a Gemini with the Gemini south node, you may have been learning some of the Gemini lessons in the past life, like communication, twinning, you know, building a community.
And maybe you didn't get those, so you came back for one more round, like, okay, I really want to make sure I've got this. Now, if you're north node, but you may be a little entitled sometimes, or you may have to do some service work or learn how to give back, because there can be a little bit of a brattiness sometimes. Whereas with the north node, when it's the same as the sun, you're kind of a late blooming star. You're like, my stepdaughter is a Leo with a Leo north node. So she's a Leo who's learning how to be Leo-like. So, you know, you have to push yourself a little bit. Things may come to you later. You may have to develop a little extra confidence in who you are. Maybe you need a little push putting yourself out there.
I call that one the reluctant superstar, when your sun and north node are together. Like, because the sun, when any planet next to a node, okay, is going to they're going to amplify each other, right? So the sun is like your personality, where you shine. So if your sun and south node are together, you may shine in something that you've done well before. So you have to be careful not to get complacent and ride on the fumes. Or if the sun is shining next to your north node, then you have to like maybe like push yourself a little and just like have people to runway coach you into confidence around it. Same thing, you can take the moon. You can say the moon being your inner desires. If your south node and your moon are together, you might just get way too comfortable. The moon is also like where where you need comfort. You may just like get stuck in your comfort zone and have to push yourself harder. Moon and the north node together, you might actually be someone who like makes everyone else comfortable before you take care of yourself. So this is where you can do your own little astromixology and look if there's planets next to your north and south nodes and just kind of think about the quality of the planet and play it out. There aren't right answers, by the way. An astrologer can come up with some ideas for what it might be quickly as you learn. I mean, after you look at enough charts, you know, it's like, oh yeah, but it's not, don't look for the right answer. Let this be an exploration. As you guys are looking at your charts, this is also a cool opportunity to, you know, stretch yourself into becoming your own astrologer by playing, you know, talk it out. Hey, I got Venus and my north node together. That doesn't mean I suck at relationships, but it might mean that I'm a little resistant to romance, or I don't know how to do it, or maybe I need to like take a workshop on that or do things to get in touch with my sensuality. So hopefully that makes sense. And you guys can like have some fun playing with that. Write about it in your journal. Just explore. You'll be amazed how the answers kind of start to flow when you start letting yourself have an exploration of what it might be. That's my philosophical Sagittarius side talking. So, Ophi, are there any things we need to talk about to wrap this up?
Our next two lives are on Wednesday and Friday, and Wednesdays is going to be all about business, with half of it with a special guest visit from Marie Forleo. You can ask her anything you want about entrepreneurship, business, B-School. Then I'm going to hang out with you a little more and answer business and entrepreneurship questions too. Also, if you have questions, if you're thinking about B-School and you're not sure if it's right for you, we're going to be posting a lot of links to help you make that decision, because we understand it's an investment, but if it is right for you, we guarantee it's like a real game and life changer. So we don't want you to miss out if you do decide it's for you, because it only happens once a year. And if you go to astrostyle.com/freedom, we have, I think, about 6 of the stories up. I'm going to be adding more of people who did B-School with us last year. And I'm so proud of them, because, wow, I can see like where they started versus where they are now. Even a couple of them have been on with us, Martika and Jen Cookson. Their stories are up there. You know, one of them started a felted figurine business and is teaching people online courses from discovering that her chart had a writing ability in it that she wasn't confident in until it was validated. That was Jen. And Martika realized from learning, how many cardinal signs she has, that she doesn't like working in an office, and changed up her whole working life to be able to work from home. And that all started from the incubator and the pop-up group leading to B-School, and both really on route to living their best lives by the stars. So that's the kind of thing that we just love to help people with. Like, that's why we named the page Freedom, because, well, that's what we're all about as Sages. But don't we all want, once you discover what your soul's calling is, you want to be free to pursue that. So something that a lot, especially women, aren't taught is the how. We know the what, we might even know the why, but we're not always shown the how of things. I was thinking we were very lucky because our mom bought a computer when we were young. So we've been tinkering with technology since we were kids. And we also were in a nerdy little gifted program where we learned how to do programming in our public school system. And what a difference that made, though, because I'm not afraid to learn how things work or to ask, but I know it feels overwhelming to a lot of people sometimes. You don't even think it's possible for you to learn how to do
things for yourself, because I did those same things, and I do get overwhelmed myself sometimes.
We all do. But
out there.
Overwhelmed is one thing, stopped is another, and that's my point. A lot of us get stopped when we feel overwhelmed, and we don't even think we can learn how. And we give up and we go, I'll deal with it later. And we kind of let our dreams languish. So, what we're most excited about in working with, and we're so excited for those of you guys who've already signed up for B-School to join us, that you're going to learn very specific, practical ways how. Courtney is saying, I'm about to enroll. Yay! Just to confirm, when we go to the unique link, it still looks like the regular B-School registration page. Yes, exactly. So we have a unique link that will track that you signed up through our page. It looks like any basic B-School registration, but it'll track, and then we'll get a message that you've signed up through our link, and that will allow us to give you our complimentary Cosmic Success Bundle, our bonus program that we talked about at the beginning, where you get to be in another private Facebook group, get weekly coaching through B-School to help you digest and apply it and use your chart. And so much more. And our first 50 people will get the final tally after March 1st of all those names and who they are. But our first 50 will get a reading with us. So really just can't wait to play and hang and help you design your businesses and really understand how your chart sets you in a very unique direction and how to
for when do the Astropreneurs, the people who signed up for B School, when are we going to open up the group for them? What date? So everyone knows.
So B School registration closes at 7:00 Eastern this Friday, March 1st. So if you're going to join us this year, you have to sign up by that time.
Sign up by Friday.
We recommend doing it sooner because Marie already has 3 amazing pre-courses in there. One called Start the Right Business. That's for anyone. That's a really great one. I remember, I think Martika did that one and had mega breakthroughs last year. It's like, if you're not even 100% sure, like what direction your business should go in, great one. And she has a payment plan because I see someone mention that. You can either pay $199 a month for a year or it's $19.99. I know that sounds like a lot to some people. We all have different levels of financial status, etc. But it's real, and that's why we're going to be helping you assess if B School is right for you. But our page, our Cosmic Success Bundle page, has a bunch of links on it where you can take a program tour and look at other B schools. There's an FAQ page to help you assess if B School is right for you. Because if it isn't, we don't want you to do it. She does have a refund period, a brief refund period as well. But we really recommend taking the time to see if it is right for you. And, we just love to help cosmically guide you. Now, after registration closes March 1st, we get all our information from B School about the final order that people signed up in. So on March 2nd, on Saturday, we'll send out information to everybody joining the link to the new group and the, we have a little private member portal where all your lessons and live stream replays will be. So you don't have to be on Facebook to access it. And look, if it's not financially possible for you this year, but you really feel excited about it, then join us next year. Now you'll have a whole year to plan and save and use these lessons to get motivated. You can keep following us and following Marie and
the timing is everything. And for those who are ready, this is going to be a great year because we've got Jupiter and Sagittarius, as I keep saying, which is mega entrepreneurial energy, Saturn and Capricorn, which is double up mogul vibes. And so it really is the perfect year for anyone who is thinking or wanting to expand their business or build their business. Your focus will be very naturally on that. Mars is going to be in Taurus, which is also great for like learning about business the whole time we're in B School. So so everyone who's already signed up, thank you so much. We're super excited. And for those of you who are on the fence, we hope you get the right answer for you before the cart closes on Friday. We'll be available again for another year.
Hop on Wednesday at noon Eastern to the live stream where Marie herself, you can ask her any questions directly that aren't answered or ask me. And if you're on the fence, just, questions to ponder is if a year from now I knew I could be making my own hours on my way to financial freedom, whether that means you still have a side hustle or day job or freelance job, but I knew I was on my way to, not having to commute or, not be with my kids and family or do something that I hated or work on someone else's hours or just feel like I'm just not making enough of a difference that I know I can, or like I have these gifts and I just want to share them, but I'm afraid I won't be able to, nobody's going to pay me for that. If you're ready to get rid of that conversation and join, and B School is simply packed with people whose lives are a complete shutdown of that limiting belief. It's like no, if this person can do it and they will tell you how, you believe, you know, not only believe you can too, you'll see how. So if you want to know how, like I said, not just the what and the why, but you're really ready for the how, and you're ready for it to be fun and inspiring and supported by a community like this one. The same kind of awesome people that have been here in this pop-up group are the ones you're going to get to keep hanging out with. Because as our 7th house Cancer South node knows, the support of other people is crucial. So we're going to be there to support you. And just, you know, whatever the case, it has been a total pleasure to do this with you guys. So please, you know, enjoy the rest of the week with us. We've got lots of juicy conversations ahead every day this week in the incubator.
So we'll see you a little earlier on Wednesday at noon Eastern, right here. So with that, we're wishing everyone a beautiful Monday, and thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll talk to you on Wednesday.
See you soon.
Bye.